Hey everyone, it's Craig, back in lovely Los Angeles, and I want to take a moment before the show to tell you about our Patreon offerings. That's right, we have so many things to offer you on patreon.com/Katya and Craig. For $5 a month, you get bonus episodes. For $7 a month, you get all the bonus episodes plus all of the listener questions episodes, which include full episodes with Alaska, Bible Girl, Trixie Mattel, and the list goes on and on and on. For $10 a month, you get all the bonus episodes, all the listener questions episodes, and our movie club episodes. That's right, Movie Club. We've done Steel Magnolias, Suspiria, Legend, John Waters' Hairspray. Oh, and we're going to be doing John Waters' Crybaby with special guests Cherry and Sophie. I just taped a movie club in San Francisco with Cherry and Sophie about Rocky Horror Picture Show, and we had the incredible fortune to find someone who not only hadn't seen the film, but had never heard of it. So we get to talk to a pure Rocky virgin. Also, Shock Treatment coming up soon with Miss Trixie Mattel, David, and Jake Shears. And there's already 2 movie clubs with Trixie Mattel, one for Contact and one for Scream. In other news, we'll be doing our very first live episode of Whimsically Volatile at LA DragCon on Sunday, May 25th. Get your tickets now at RuPaulsDragCon.com, and for a discount, use our promo code Whimsical for 10% off. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Katya and Craig. Leave a review and subscribe on iTunes. And you know what? Now that we've got all that taken care of, let's get into the show.
A Russian ballerina, stomping on a bureaucrat, a perky suburban housewife who just got into scat. It's whimsically volatile.
Where are we at? We're at Wigs for Vanity.
Yeah, we are.
Welcome, Vanity.
Are we recording?
Yes, we are.
Oh, this is it? Oh, wow.
I was here for my first Mardi Gras.
Yes, you were.
What was your Mardi Gras experience like?
Well... Look, it was quite a different one for me, actually. Look, Mardi Gras traditionally is the time when all the poofters get together. We have a great time. We take lots of drugs.
Yeah.
We party. It's like just letting our hair down.
Yeah.
Mind you, in saying that, back in the day when we were young, every weekend was like that. But
and weekday as well?
Well, yeah, when you're a drag queen, it's, you work every night. So every night's a party. But this year was the first year that I was not sober, definitely not sober, but clean. Like, it was the first year that the last year was the last year that I decided that I was going to take drugs. So
Sure.
I'm sort of at the point, I'm 40 now. I'm like, you know what? I've done that. I've done it a lot, and I've given it a good go. And
all the research, you've done all the
research. Yeah. Yep. And now I'm just like, okay, I've done that now.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
good. I've got better things to do than not better things, just
Different things.
adult things to do.
Sure. Now,
And sorry.
Oh no, I was going to say, now, what was your consumption of choice?
It was alcohol.
Sure, but what in particular? What kind of cocktail do you like?
Vodka.
Yeah. Now, on the rocks, or do you like a mixed drink? Or?
Yes. However it comes.
Sure.
No, look, I tell you what, I had to work. This is why it was a very different experience for me for Mardi Gras. Like, usually, Mardi Gras can last up to 4 days.
It feels like it's done that for us, by the way. Yeah.
Well, but it's also a big lead up as well, because it's always, even if I'm doing drag and I'm working as a drag queen, it's always a big build up and lead up with a lot of work. You're doing a lot of gigs,
Sure.
but I don't do that anymore. But now I'm doing wigs.
Yeah.
So now I'm working. So it's like, it's a busy time of year. It's basically like, it's hairdressers' Christmas is a busy time.
Oh yeah.
My Mardi Gras
certainly.
is my hairdressers' Christmas.
Yeah.
And so there's this massive big lead up. And then you get to the party, there's a parade and the Mardi Gras night, and you get to release and let your hair down, and then you enjoy,
finally
the rewards of working so hard and celebrating who we are and blah, blah, blah. So, but this year, I couldn't do that. This year, I had to work on the Sunday with Courtney for Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, right, of course.
For dress rehearsal, and then we had to shoot all day on Monday.
Sure, you all saw Courtney's really moving performance on the...
Yeah, wasn't it beautiful?
Yeah, it was really gorgeous, and it was the first time I'd seen that show live. We'd been watching the dances afterwards, and we happened to be at a TV, and we were like, oh, we should definitely watch this.
Yeah.
And it was perfect. It was beautiful.
Yeah, Australian TV, there's nothing like it, is there?
No, there really isn't. What's that, Sammy, what's that morning show?
Which one?
The Sunday one.
Oh, Studio 10.
Yes, I'm kind of obsessed with Studio 10. Yeah, it's really good.
To be honest, I don't watch much Australian free-to-air television. Well, I don't watch free-to-air television. I watch, I'll sit down and watch television for 24 hours a day, but it's not with ads.
Sure, yeah. I'm like that as well, but like with the novelty of it.
I'm sure.
Ooh, what's that? Ooh.
Well, whenever I go to the States, I always love watching the television and watching the ads. It's always so much fun.
Aren't the ads the best?
Yeah, they really are. They're good. They're actually entertaining.
Sometimes, and I love old vintage ads from the 80s, because you look at it and you go like, this is insane. How did they get away with this stuff?
Yeah.
But anyway, I sidetracked us.
So this year, I feel like I was successful in the way that I did turn up to work and I was able to do my job.
Yeah.
And I was, had won that battle. But I think subconsciously my out was my fail safe was just getting, and like I said, subconsciously, like I didn't do it consciously, was just getting so drunk that all I could do was go home.
You know what? That's a good system.
Yeah.
That's a good system.
So, and usually, like I said before, like we work so hard leading up to the actual night but then there's like this reward and this release afterwards, but I didn't have that. So I kind of felt like I knew I had to get all squished into a very short space of time.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit of a loose drunk, and I've got like a bit of a slight drinking problem when it comes to drinking.
Now, tell me, run that down for me. Like, what's the trajectory for your night if you go out drinking?
Well, you know what? I don't go out that much anymore. The only times I go out now is if I'm working.
Yeah.
And thankfully, like doing drag, and thankfully, like, my jobs really consists of just doing a hostessing shift at Stonewall Hotel, upstairs, and it's really easy. All I have to do is turn up, chat to people, and do 2 spot numbers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's like 2.5 hours long. It's the easiest
Perfect.
job.
Yeah.
But I've got to the point where I can't even do that. I have cut back. Like, I've enjoyed a lot of, things in my life.
Things and stuff.
And it's all whittled down to the point where I feel kind of like I'm sort of succeeding as an adult somewhat.
Yeah. Yeah.
But drinking is like one of the last things I have left. And I don't drink during the week anymore. I don't, I know I wasn't an alcoholic, but I did think, I think my drinking is a problem.
Right.
And, but I've been successfully, stop drinking during the week and like just stop drinking just for the sake of it, having a glass of wine at night.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
why just have one glass of wine?
Right.
I want a bottle, or 2.
Yeah.
Like,
it's very easy too to have it like blur into all kinds of situations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I had to start putting rules on it, and it was fine, very easy, no problem at all. But now it's sort of like my body goes, I really miss that. When I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it really good.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Well, you excel at so many things. You really want to.
I do succeed at being a drunk. So look, I personally, like, I love it. I think it's great. I'm not,
No, I think that's important, especially you said being an adult. Part of being an adult too is saying like sometimes I want to be, if not irresponsible, if that's not the perfect word, but sort of partying. You have it contained in a certain space of time.
Yeah.
Like John Waters, after a while, he would only smoke and drink on like a Friday night.
Okay.
And that would be it, but he'd really do it.
Yeah.
And then Saturday would be recovery, and then back to normal operation hours.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we should never deny ourselves the things we love.
Right.
But
managing,
managing and controlling it, I think, is important. And I feel like I've done that.
Yeah.
In 99% of my life. But Mardi Gras just happened to be. So anyway, so the trajectory of my night. So I started getting ready I worked really hard. Like we had a lot of work to do it. And with all my Wigs by Vanity stuff, I was also working with Courtney.
Sure.
So she was, we did the Eurovision contest, which is up on the Gold Coast. And that took me out of the salon for like 5 or 6 days.
And for those not familiar with the distance, how far away is the Gold Coast from?
Oh, it's only like an hour and a bit flight.
Oh, okay.
But it is halfway. Well, kind of, it's an 11-hour drive.
And there's packing. There's
I'm
a
going
lot
to
of
burp. Hold on.
Oh, please, no. Keep it in.
Sorry.
How rude.
Yeah. How unladylike.
I meant to not keep it in the show.
Oh, okay. Well, I have listened to the show. I know what sort of show it is. What was the question? How far away is the Gold Coast?
The Gold Coast.
We don't. Yeah. It's
just curious because in addition to all the prep you have to do, and then you have to load it into trunks and move it, and then come back. And
well, look, my loading is pretty simple. Like, it's a wig. Like, it's.
Oh, right. That's a good point.
Yeah, I'm pretty self-contained, and I just travel with what I need. I'm not one of those artists or hairdressers or makeup artists that just travel with everything they own just in case. I'm like, no, we're doing this.
Unlike me,
this is what we're going to have.
Yeah,
it's all I'm carrying, which Courtney sometimes gets annoyed at, but never mind.
So then you were doing that, and then
so I was out of the salon quite a bit, and it was like a lot of stuff, and then Courtney was doing Dancing with the Stars, and that was a lot of stuff as well, and just so on top of everything else, and then she had different things, and so on top of my usual work, which is quite extensive for this period, then I had her stuff as well.
Sure.
So I got to the point where I was like, okay, had to get there. So I got there.
Yeah.
And then I had the morning off on Mardi Gras day, and I went and got a massage, and did all this and that, and bought my jewelry. I didn't make my outfit until the night before, so I was very late with all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I got on the day, and I started getting ready at 1:00. And of course, I can't even think about it. I can't even walk into my drag room without having a drink in my hand. It just doesn't work that way. Like drag and alcohol, I have to have a good time. I can't be doing drag. That's why I don't understand, I don't know how all the drag race girls do it and just do it day in, day out sober, trying to, getting in and being professional. I'm like, honey, that would not work with me at all.
Now, and that leads back to your story about before Priscilla, when you sort of hit a dead end, at least how you felt about drag.
Yeah.
Because you were sort of on the hamster wheel of the performances and the drinking and all that, right?
Yeah, but that I still carry that with me in a way. Like drag to me has to be fun.
Sure.
It can never feel like work. Once it feels like work, I just hate it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I don't do it a lot, because I've sort of semi-retired, because I don't want to do it unless I'm having a good time. But it's unhealthy to have a good time and do it a lot.
Yeah. So again, it's the managing thing.
Yeah, and I really have a My business is more important to me these days than going out and getting drunk and being in drag.
Sure.
Even though it all ties in at some point,
Yeah, it's all part of the same.
Yeah. So anyway, I started getting ready. I had about 4 really nice strong vodkas. Got ready, left the house, but and then I had to go and do Courtney's hair for the parade. And then I had a party to go to before the actual parade, and then I was going to march with Jolene in her Rainbow Families float. That's Jolene.
Hi, Jolene. Would you like to say hi to...
Hello.
Jolene, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you.
And so I got to Courtney's house, did her hair. I got to my friend's party, pre-party, did that. Got to the beginning of the parade with Jolene and started the parade. And that's where it all went downhill. But it all went downhill because before I left the house, I got a Gatorade bottle with a roadie. And I tipped out most of the Gatorade and filled the rest out with vodka, which that was the mistake. And I realized that now in retrospect.
One time years ago, there's that stuff called Hypnotic. I had done that with a Powerade bottle, which is blue, poured it in there, and then I went, ooh, that's a bit sweet, added vodka to it. And then the next morning I had a hangover that made my head feel like shattered glass that had been put back together. Yeah.
I woke up with a slight hangover, but not really, not considering what I should have. But so what happens? Then after I did the parade, I got lost in the love of the parade of Mardi Gras. Like just got...
Isn't this wonderful?
Oh, it's just wonderful. And I love it, and it's beautiful, and that's something that I want to do every year, is just be a part of the parade. But I kind of lost Jolene. I ran off on my own. I remember hugging people and just running back and forward along the parade route. God knows what happened. Anyway, then that was really it. That's all just very, very, very fragmented from then. But I didn't make it to the party to do Courtney's hair for the party. She had the hair, it was fine, and there was lots of people there that could help us, so that was fine, even though technically I didn't make it, but she wouldn't have wanted me there anyway. Not the state I was in. But I met new friends, and I was like, and I thought it was fine. I woke up in the morning at whatever time I was in my bed, still with my face on and drag sprawled all over the floor, but I thought, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Great. I succeeded.
I didn't stay out.
Yeah. I didn't get seduced by the party.
Right. And we missed the parade, but really did it proper at the party.
Oh, yeah.
We bumped into Courtney at about 4 a.m.
I think so, yeah, because we were in Jake's dressing room, and they had adjoining dressing rooms, and then she popped her head in, because we were sort of passing like ships in the night.
Yeah. And Courtney is so disciplined. Like, she knows exactly... She can trust herself.
Yeah.
She knows her limits, and she can go have a great time. See, I don't trust myself.
Oh, okay.
I've got rubber arms. It's been and it's all the past experience I've had. Finally, at 40, I've sort of realized that I just don't trust myself.
Yeah, well, it's good. Again, managing, knowing your limits and all that stuff. Then it makes everything so much easier.
Yeah, it does. But I was so looking forward to coming to the party and hanging out in the dressing room.
Oh, yes,
because I've never been drunk at the party. I've never been tipsy and having a good time. And, So I was looking forward to that, but that didn't quite happen.
It was funny because we didn't know who was next to us. We would go in the room, charge the phone, whatever, get a water, and there was peals of laughter coming in through the room. And then when we found out it was Courtney, was like, oh, okay. All right, now we get it.
One big family up there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mardi Gras has its very own special flavor to it.
Yeah, so, I've been to London Pride, and it's very different to our Mardi Gras.
Yeah, there's a certain energy that is a very, light, loving up feeling. Yeah. Even though I know about the sort of the crackdown on certain things, and there's a sort of police presence, there wasn't really at the party. Because I was sort of imagining something a little bit more I guess, dystopian
Yeah.
than it
Yeah.
happened. So,
Yeah.
which was good. Yeah.
Because other festivals and other parties that happen, like currently,
Yeah.
they're all like so heavily surveillanced.
Yeah. Which is a shame.
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
glad that Mardi Gras wasn't like that.
No.
You know. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, no single dog there.
No single, just couple dogs.
Depends on what
All
sort of
human
dog you're
dogs.
looking at.
It's just married dogs, which I thought was sweet because they have to be represented too. And talking about Courtney, for those who don't know, you two are drag sisters.
Yes, we are. Yeah, I thought you were going to say drag. Yeah.
Well,
drag
no, we
sisters.
can say, what would you like to say?
No. Usually people like make the mistake of saying, because it's that whole drag mom thing. It's like drag daughter thing.
Yeah.
It's like, we're 4 years apart. I am nobody's mom. Like, people say on Instagram, will you be my drag mom? I said, no, fuck off.
Isn't that the sort of thing too, where it has to actually sort of organically happen?
It does,
Yeah.
absolutely. Courtney and I are drag sisters.
Yeah.
We're like family in real life. Like we've known each other for a long time, and it is a really beautiful friendship. And it's we are like, it's family.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice. And, you know, we've had our ups and downs. I just like family.
Sure.
Always come out at the end stronger than ever, which is
Sure.
nice.
That is a remarkable thing, that the first time, especially, you have some kind of issue with your friend, and then you're back and you're like, not only is it cool, but we're better now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think coming through issues like that, not that Courtney ever had that, you know, major issues. You know, it's always nice to come at the end, and then you just realize you appreciate so much more, like the friend, the strength of the friendship.
Sure.
Which is nice. I was already well established as a drag queen in Sydney
Mm-hmm.
by the time Courtney sort of came on the scene, and she just wasn't even doing. She was just a little boy,
Mm-hmm.
and it took a little while for her to sort of get her feet
Sure.
to the thing. And at first I was like, oh God, no. no. But I'd already had, because I didn't have drag. This is before, like, you know, social media.
Sure.
And like, you know, we didn't really have drag mums in Sydney.
It's not really an Australian thing, right? Like, it's
Not really. I
Yeah.
mean, you have people who help you, and like you become friends and like colleagues, and
Mhm.
you know, people take you under their wing. But we don't really have a drag family as such. Because I come from a hairdressing background, I'd always thought I was taking on drag apprentices.
Sure.
'Cause, you know, with a hairdressing apprentice sort of thing, apprenticeship. And so I'd have, you know, drag queens that I'd help, and it was usually people who were really talentless. Like, I'm like, oh, you need help. I'll help you. Come on, I've got enough to share. Come on. And usually, and there was always like, I'd always fall on deaf ears. But Courtney was a different kettle of fish altogether.
Sure.
So by the time Courtney came along, I think it was a long time ago, and it was like a very hazy time.
Well, sure.
But I kind of feel that like I really wasn't interested at first, and it took her actually being serious for me to go, oh, okay, you're serious now. Yep, sure. Okay, come on.
Sure.
And that's when I sort of took her under my wing, and you know, we sort of helped with the makeup, and you know, loaned her all my wigs, which she lost, and she was put on a ban from that. And
Sensing maybe what one of the issues might have been at the beginning.
at the beginning, yeah. Oh, she was just young. She was
No,
a
of
kid. She
course.
was
Yeah,
18.
Yeah.
I know it sounds so cliche, but she has made me a better person. Like, I feel like our friendship is like very much like I wouldn't be here. I would actually be right here, right now, because like in the situation and what I have now, because, you know, like I'm not a business person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not entrepreneurial at all. I'm very creative and you know, and I'm good at what I do, but what I do is not business.
Sure.
And so that's how we've got this, is because Courtney and I went into business together. So she was all the entrepreneurial and business side of it, and I was all the creative.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I wouldn't be here with what I have now without, you know, us working together and her pushing and being the force behind what we have.
Sort of returning the favor of the help that you did before, you know, in sort of a
I'd
spiritual
hope so.
sense.
I'd hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. When yeah.
Which is a very sweet thing.
Yeah,
And
I
then
think
it's
so.
lovely too when friends can do that with each other.
Yeah.
And it's rewarding for each person. And the relationship with Courtney is also interesting because of the parallels I saw when rereading your blogs about the feelings that you had growing up, being a boy, not being encouraged to enjoy the things that you enjoy.
Yeah.
And what I saw in Courtney's performance on Dancing with the Stars this week.
Yeah. Well, we both feel the same. It's and that's what makes us so close. And actually, what makes us like family, because we're so similar. We both have struggled with our gender identity a lot, and it's taken me a long time, like a long time, my whole life, up until just a few years ago. And I went to therapy, and I did some work, and I got to the end of my 30s, like, right, I can't take this into my 40s. Like, I really feel like, and I love being 40. I love growing older, and I love maturing and aging.
Yeah.
And I always think that every year's gotten better. Why would it just continue being better?
Yeah.
But I can't take all my scars and all my emotional issues into the next part of my life.
Sure.
So I went and did a lot of work on a lot of, therapy and sort of really evaluated what was important to me. And basically, I learned to love myself.
Sure.
And accept myself.
Which does take a long time.
It does. And especially all my life, all my childhood, I was made to feel shame with who I was.
Mm-hmm.
And then, or when I was going through high school, like everyone attacked me and bullied me because of who I was.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I sort of discovered my tribe and sort of started doing drag, then sort of, subconsciously, the gay scene in Sydney then told me, because being a drag queen was fine, but not being
Sure.
a femme guy was fine.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, but I was ultimately a femme guy who did drag.
Right.
Even though I do think that, I don't just do drag, like I am drag.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why I don't need to do drag anymore, because I really have incorporated vanity and myself merged into the same being, which is what I think it always was.
Yeah.
But I needed to have those two specific genders in order to sort of fit in or feel comfortable.
Yeah.
But now with this whole gender revolution, we sort of are learning that you can just be yourself.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you are.
Incorporate everything.
Incorporate everything. So it's funny because like I do, like even Courtney was talking about it this other night, like, and that's about her performance on Dancing with the Stars. Like she had a bit of an emotional breakdown during the rehearsal because she just realized how important the subject was to her and how it's affected her. And both of us at some point in our lives have thought we were trans, like and had thought, should we be women? Like, are we women?
Sure, right.
Would we be better off as women emotionally and, in our place in the world? And I thought that very early on. Like I took hormones when I was 19, 20, and like, I sort of was touring with a lot of trans women and doing a lot of shows and working with them. I sort of thought, oh, this is, I think, is who I am.
Yeah.
But very quickly I realized that's not who I am.
Mm-hmm. And how long did you take the hormones?
Oh, just a few months. So not long.
Yeah.
Not long at all. But it was enough to show physical signs and like physical results because I was so feminine anyway.
Sure.
So that was when like I was sort of growing, bitch tits. I was like, oh no, I don't want to be a woman. That's not who I am. Like I like the glamour. I like the dress up. I like the femininity.
Yeah. Right.
And there is certainly a deep part of me that is female.
Yeah.
But I'm not trans, and that's the thing. But in those days, and that was the late 90s, and like, there was really only two options. There was man or woman.
Yeah.
There was nothing in between.
Right.
So
and really no resources to sort of read about, right? Or like ask other people.
Yeah, I know exactly. So, but then our journeys have continued, and so it's gone to a point now where and Courtney and I discussed it, that basically I am trans, but without the need to take hormones.
Sure.
Like I'm happy. I identify as male. I'm happy with with my body and the way I look.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to lose a few kilos, but that's not my gender identity. But I think it's just important for me especially that I just remember that this is who I am.
Yeah.
And that's enough.
Yeah.
And that's
absolutely.
perfect. And everyone out there that's listening, like, to that they're the same. Just and everyone's story is going to be different. We're all on the spectrum. We all are. There are so many colors in the rainbow, and we all fall into a color or into a percentage of the spectrum. But none of us are going to be exactly the same. So,
right. And I think also true, even if your story doesn't mirror any of the stories that you hear other people's, like it's just as valid, and you just
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. I get like a lot of kids on Instagram message me who ask, who are inspired by my freedom of myself.
Yeah.
And sort of want advice. And I mean, I have to say that all of them, like, I don't have the authority to give you advice on your life because I don't know anything about your life.
Sure.
But, all I can say is, that your life is perfect. You're perfect. You just need to remember that and own that and celebrate that.
And it can be difficult too. I've gotten a little bit of it sometimes when people reach out and you want to help them, but you don't feel maybe that it's the best thing for them. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
And you mean that, and it's everything. But just keep pursuing whatever it is you feel is the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. And to listen to yourself.
That's key. Absolutely. Intuition. Because I remember, again, rereading your blogs, one of the things that struck me most and resonated with me is the thing in your poem when you were writing about blue, especially, and then sort of feeling like a robot. Because you're just finally going along with what the others tell you to do.
Yeah.
to please them. But
absolutely. I think the line is that my soul is dismantled.
Yes.
Like, because you get taken apart, because you get dissected. Like, because when you're a kid and a child, like you don't know what you're doing. You're just living your life. You're just being authentic and true. But But piece by piece, someone who's got authority above you starts to take something away from you because they don't think it's right or they don't agree with it.
Yeah.
And that was with especially, from my point of view, I grew up in a very closed-minded family.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my stepfather's family were very, very, very heterosexual and very Australian and very and had no knowledge. They had probably never even met a gay person.
Okay,
so,
sure.
But my mum's side, like they were much more sort of, open-minded. But even still, it was the 80s. Like, they didn't know.
Yeah.
And I was not only sort of, I was very obvious what I liked. My attraction towards things was very, very obvious.
Sure.
It's still like I am now. Like I either love it or I hate it.
Yeah.
But what I loved was all the girly things. I loved Barbies. I loved She-Ra. I loved, I love all these things, but I wasn't allowed to play with all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I was forced into playing with He-Man instead of She-Ra because She-Ra was for girls and He-Man was for boys.
Right.
Like I wanted to do gymnastics and dancing.
Mm-hmm.
But I was forced into soccer and football.
Yeah.
And I hated it and never did. And I became such a lazy child because there was nothing for me to do that I was interested in.
The reward is absent, and you're just doing this thing. So, of course, you feel lazy or whatever. That's what happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, and as children, like, we're so, like, easily influenced and easily programmed.
And impacted as well.
Impacted, yeah. So my programming from very early on was quite... I mean, I was never unsafe. I was never abused, not physically.
Sure.
But was I given all the tools I needed to become a good, solid adult? I don't really think I was.
Sure.
But not because that was deliberate, just because I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
But in saying that, we're all, richly coloured because of our past.
That's true.
And I own it now, but it's taken a long time.
It does give you a perspective on so much when you come through that, and then you do the work yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think the work's really important.
Yeah.
You need to do the work. You can't. Years and years, I just, suppressed and tried to say, oh no, that's I don't want to go there. I can't go there. It's too hard. Too much pain. Yeah. But you have to.
Don't you think sometimes when you're like, this is too much pain, that's the thing actually you're supposed to go right for headlong.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's so weird because it's such a counter feeling.
It is. Yeah. It is. But that pain, that gnaws at you, that eats at you inside. That's a poison.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it affects parts of your life you don't even realize it's affecting, and that's what was happening to me.
Really?
Like that's why I was taking so many drugs, and I was an absolute cunt. Like I was such a bitch and such an asshole because I was so unhappy.
Yeah. Right.
But I was projecting this vision of strength as a drag queen because that was my shield and that was my defense.
Yeah. Which is great in one way, but then sometimes if you don't do the other bit.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why, like, at some point, like, I was like, oh, this is not, I can't do this. We need to deal with this shit. Like, get this sorted. Like, it's affected me long enough.
Sure. Now, was it sort of a slow creep up of that feeling? Like, it was like more and more day by day?
It was like a decade.
Yeah.
It was a decade to get to that point.
Yeah.
And then it was another 3 or 4 years of actually doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was hard, but only because it was so deep and so, like, just such a part of who I was as a person.
Sure.
So and it was like part of my genetic makeup almost, my programming. So
of course.
It was like,
yeah, it's all woven so tightly.
So tightly.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, I've got to unravel that. Like, that is a lot of like that's hard.
Yeah.
But little by little, and like Courtney, so wise, always says, just because you can't do everything doesn't mean you should do nothing.
That's a really,
yeah.
That is a really perfect
which I'm really trying to take on to every part of my life. It makes so much sense, doesn't it?
No, it really does.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can talk yourself out of doing a lot of things, whether it's learning an instrument or whatever, because you can't immediately hit it.
Yeah. Yeah. But then the journey sometimes is just as rewarding as the destination.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's also the meditative state you find yourself in when you're applying yourself to either self-work or whatever, learning how to fix a gadget or something.
Yeah. And also, like, I think that that the journey is where you find the self-respect because you reward yourself. You're like, I've done that. Like, I put that work in. I deserve. I have respect for myself for doing that.
That's right.
It's like when I was smoking and I'd take Champax, like the medication to stop.
Yeah.
And every time I did it, and I had no respect for the actual quitting because I hadn't done the work.
Sure. I'm doing that now with the Juul, but I like the Juul. I'm okay.
What's
Juul?
Juul?
Juul is a vape pen instead of cigarettes.
Is it still nicotine?
It's still nicotine, which I'm still okay with because I was starting to get the wake up in the morning feeling a bit, in the chest, running upstairs feeling like, oh, shit.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
How long did you smoke for?
Oh, about 20 years, maybe 19 years. Yeah. With a 2-year break sometime in the later part. Yeah. So I had quit cold turkey and that worked. But then after moving to LA from the Massachusetts, I thought, oh, no one smokes out here in LA, which is not the case at all. Like, it's like everyone, and they all look great smoking too.
Yeah,
so you're like, oh, it's fine. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
What were the side effects like with Champax?
My stomach was kind of gurgly.
Oh yeah,
like cut your shit in the bed kind of thing. Like,
oh yeah, right.
Like, and bad dreams and stuff like that. But I think there was one point as well, like I was sort of getting these like headaches, and I did it about 3 or 4 times, and you can only have it once a year. That's in Australia. Really? You only get your doctor can only give it to you once a year.
Oh wow,
it's so strong. You think, what's it doing to your brain? Like it's changing your brain.
Yeah, exactly. If it's that strong, they have Chantix in the States, which is the same, but it's a different dosage.
Yeah.
But anyway, you had the respect for the actual quitting. Yeah. So did you end up going back to smoking after the
Champax every time? But then last year. In my old 40-year-old wisdom, I quit successfully. Yeah. But I built myself up to it, I worked myself up to it. And I was like, you know what? It's the same thing. Like I suddenly had respect for myself just because of all the emotional work I had done. I was like, you know what? You can do this. Like stop using the excuse that you have no willpower, you've got no discipline, or you've got rubber arms, or it's just too hard, or whatever excuse you're making. Just don't make that for this because you need. And I was spending so much money. It was costing me a fortune. They're so expensive. They're like $32.50 a packet, and I was smoking a packet a day.
Oh, sure.
So it's like it's a lot of money, and I just was like, you know what, get your shit together. Mm-hmm. And then I worked myself up to it, and then I quit.
Wow.
And I quit cold turkey, and that was it.
I think that's the best way to quit.
Yeah, I think so. You have to work yourself up to it.
Hey, have you visited the World Wide Web? Oh, it's such an exciting place. And now you can have your own website. And it's so easy to do with Wix. Have you wanted to make your own website but maybe been held back by not knowing coding or just been a little intimidated by the process? Well, your troubles are over now because Wix.com is the solution. Over 140 million people already use Wix for their websites. You can start and publish for free. Choose from over 500 stunning templates or start from scratch. Change, customize, add anything you want. Text, images, videos, all the stuff that you see on a website. And all the sites include built-in SEO tools. That's search engine optimization, which is very helpful when you're trying to be found on the great old World Wide Web. Get the tools you need to create the website you want. Unlimited storage, a custom domain, email addresses for your business, email marketing tools, premium apps, dedicated support teams, and so much more. We would have liked to have had a whimsically volatile website up already. The thing is, we were kind of a little intimidated. Maybe we didn't know how to go about it, or we were a little too busy taping gross things on the couch. But now our website's in process because we're using Wix. And there's tools for every business, e-commerce, music, hotels, events, restaurants, and more. Or if you just want to put up your own personal blog, Wix can make a beautiful presentation for you. You get unlimited fonts, design effects, HD video, grids and layouts, code capabilities, media galleries, and basically everything you need to make a fabulous website. So get started now by going to Wix.com. That's Wix.com/podcast to get 10% off. That's Wix.com/podcast. Who doesn't like eating? The trouble is, sometimes you don't want to do any cooking. But what if there was a way to have the instructions spelled out for you and the ingredients already purchased, cut up, ready to go? Got some good news for you. HelloFresh can make this happen for you. Meals that are pre-planned, varied, and also take only 30 minutes or less to prepare. And clean up pretty quickly, too. It's made a world of difference for me because, as we've discussed on the podcast, sometimes schedules don't really allow for proper grocery shopping or meal planning. And HelloFresh is really the perfect solution for this. You get fresh, pre-measured ingredients and easy-to-follow 6-step pictured recipe cards. And it's only 6 steps. It's not that hard. When you order from a food delivery service, that's at least 3 or 4 steps, not to mention you have to sit and pick what you want. This allows you to spend much less time meal planning or grocery shopping so you can get that time back to do more of what you love. Whether you're an omnivore or a strict vegan, they have options for you. They have 3 plans to choose from: classic, veggie, and family, and there's an option to switch between them for when your tastes change. So if you want to join the HelloFresh party, we have a promo code for you that will save you $80 off your first month of HelloFresh. All you have to do is go to HelloFresh.com/WV80 and enter WV80. That's HelloFresh.com/WV80 and enter WV80. once you do work like that, you then are so less likely to let someone else mess with your mental scene.
Oh,
Right?
absolutely.
Yeah. Because it's like, no. I really know what it's taken me to get here.
Yeah.
And you and no one else.
Yeah,
is going
absolutely.
to,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've had this saying to myself now. It's like, if I don't like something, I'm like, no, you love yourself too much to put up with that shit.
Yeah.
Like, you've got too much respect for yourself to do that. And I never had that before.
Yeah.
So it's nice. Yeah.
That is nice too. It saves a lot of drama.
It does, yeah.
Which can also distract you from the stuff that you need to work on back before you take on the journey, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But it's nice to be here. It's nice to finally, like, I mean, it's funny because Courtney and I used to always talk about being broken.
Okay.
And like, I felt broken. Like, there was something part of me that was broken.
Yeah.
You know, and we always just, discussed it. And she had a revelation when she was younger. She's like, oh, I just realized I'm not broken. I'm like, no, you're not broken.
Yeah,
you're good. Like,
yeah, right.
But then it was just, I don't know what it was. Just actually, it must have been last year. And I did therapy. And I hadn't done, like, I had, like to do therapy in chunks so you can, like, work on stuff and then have a break to process it all.
Sure.
And do another chunk. And so I went back on the first one and I was just talking to my therapist and I'm like, oh, I'm not broken anymore. Oh, wow. And so I called Courtney. I was like, oh my God, guess what? I'm not broken. That was nice.
It just like appears one day, right?
It appears, did you say?
No, that feeling appears.
Yeah.
Just sort of like.
Well, the realization appears. Like, I think it was like I had known it, but then talking about it with a therapist, I was trying to explain. It's like, oh, this is what this is. It's not.
Yeah, right.
I'm not 100% fixed.
Sure.
But I've certainly spack-filled the cracks.
Which will hold for at least another 10 years. Yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah,
the rain doesn't get in. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully.
After you had quit drag the first time, right? Then tell me if I have the timeline right.
Mm-hmm.
You were doing drag quite a bit and then burnt out on it.
Yeah.
What was the path then to Priscilla?
It was very organic.
Mm-hmm.
It was very natural, which is, kind of nice. I think the universe was looking out for me.
Sure.
So I was just working really hard, not really hard. I was doing a lot of drag. It's not, this wasn't hard work. It was like, it was mostly just partying.
Hadn't you sort of backed off the partying a bit in that time?
Yes, yeah. But when you work 5 nights a week in Sydney,
Well,
like you're just doing a show every night. So like you're always in drag and I sort of just got into a routine of like, you'd sort of go out and you'd party and then suddenly it's like Monday afternoon and like you think, fuck, I haven't slept since Thursday. But I've done 5 shows. I've done like, gigs every night.
Yeah.
And that happened for a couple of years and then that was when I was like, oh, you know what? I can't. Like I'm getting closer to 30 at the time. I was like 26 or 27. I was like, I've got to start being mature. Like I've got to start growing up at some point and realizing that, I just didn't want to be doing that forever.
Could you see like what could happen if you did?
Yes, I could see what I'd had evidence from other people of what happens when you did do that.
Right.
So without wanting to go into too much detail about that.
Of course not. Yeah.
But so I was like, oh, I don't want that. So I sort of cleaned myself up and pulled myself back and this thing with Priscilla was happening and I kind of felt like I'd missed the boat with it. Like, I hadn't worked in the professional theatre world at that stage backstage. So I had no reason to be offered a job on it. Just naturally.
Yeah.
And then people are like, oh, you're going to audition. I'm like, I'm not a singer. I'm not a dancer. Like, you don't, that's for professional musical theatre people. And they all did open it up for drag queens. And two drag queens that did work on the scene got jobs, but they were dancers and singers. They were actually performers who did drag also.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
But one of those performers got me in to do a photo shoot one day when the makeup artist for Priscilla wasn't available. And it was before Priscilla opened. And so I just got in and just never left.
Yeah.
I was like, right, I'm here. That's it. And I was very ambitious and I think about it now and I cringe at being put in that situation with no experience whatsoever in that world. But I made it work and I successfully got myself around the world and worked on Broadway with it. And
yeah, exactly.
West End and made myself invaluable.
Yeah.
But luckily my skills were so specifically geared towards what they needed and I knew that.
Yeah.
I made myself indispensable. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that and there's nothing wrong with being ambitious. It's just knowing the moments, right, when to act.
Yeah.
And also when to see something that's in the universe there sort of waiting for you and you're like, hang on, now's the moment.
Now's the moment, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I thought. Like I remember going, okay, this is exactly what I wanted. And I'm not going to ruin this. Like I'm not going to allow myself to sabotage this.
Yeah.
because, self-sabotage is a very, big thing when you don't have respect for yourself.
Sure. Yeah.
And
it's quite popular, self-sabotage. We all know it. Yeah.
Very, very popular. Very common. But thankfully I didn't, because it just, that changed my life. That gave me this new world that I lived in.
Yeah. And that also you were excelling at, like, you were excelling in a world that you never really expected to be in. And also I'm sure people were always like, oh my God, how do you do that makeup? Because again, in the theater world, it's a little bit different than their usual thing, but it's a level of skill that, you have a highly, highly evolved achievement level.
And thankfully my level of skill in drag was strong enough and high enough to compensate for the fact I had no idea what I was doing in the theater.
Oh yeah, right. Well, that's fine.
And I learned.
Yeah.
I'm a quick learner with that sort of stuff. So I learned very quickly. But it was a bit of a dark time when I think about it, like backstage in the theater, not knowing what I was doing. But yeah.
Oh yeah, that sounds good. Sure. No.
Yeah, I can do that. I can do that. Yeah. Oh, did I do that? Oh, okay, I'll do it now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I did that last week. It'd be fine. It'd be fine. We actually were bumped into Kurt, who worked in the first run.
Kurt Page? Oh, Kurt Phelan.
Yeah. He told me a story about how he was struggling with his makeup. You sorted him out. He was like, even when I started to get the hang of it, my face would take an hour and a half and it was still a nightmare. And that you were just like, all right, like sit down. I'll take care of it. And then he was so thankful for the help.
Yeah, that was good. He's a fun guy.
Yeah.
That was interesting. That was actually nice for me to teach that makeup to so many people around the world for Priscilla.
Yeah.
And it's that was an experience, because some people are very, very good with their fingers and their hands, and then other people just are not. And when I say fingers and hands, I mean like to do makeup.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm kind of disappointed, actually.
I'm sure it goes both ways.
No, that's true too. As we were discussing pre-show, which we'll leave completely vague to make you wonder. Yeah. And also, it must have been interesting when you started to teach people how to do things that you learned how to do out of necessity for your own benefit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I look back now and I do it very differently now. Like the makeup anyway.
Well, sure. Because you always change. You always look back at your old work and think, I wonder. Yeah.
And because I did do a makeup course, but I didn't finish it. I just wanted to go and just refine my own makeup. So, I technically. Well, no, I'm not technically I'm a professional makeup artist, but I am a makeup artist,
Well, I'd say professional. I mean, in this, exactly, yeah. You've got lots of lovely things on the wall, so you don't need to clutter it up with one of those certificates,
But I sort of, because I had sort of developed my own sort of way of doing makeup, I did take that into Priscilla and try to teach other people, but I think some of it was a bit complex for what it needed to be. I could have been much more just, slap of glitter here and there and, whack some eyelashes on and you're done.
But still, you get into that situation and you're like, this is my time to shine.
Yeah, exactly. And I wanted the show to look beautiful. Like I wanted the show to look authentic. And that was my whole thing with Priscilla. Was that I felt that was my duty as, to
the expert really with the look.
To make it authentic. And because, Priscilla is based on a very specific time in Sydney's gay culture and drag culture. And I wanted to reflect that, and I wanted to sort of, to own that and to respect that. It has changed and developed over the years. We're like, oh, well, no, Priscilla doesn't really have a time frame. But at the time, I wanted to make it authentic.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was a good experience. I'm very, very thankful for it.
I imagine when you had that thought of like, this is my time, I've had moments like that. And it's a very quiet inside thought. And you don't tell anyone. You just go like, oh yeah, this is for me.
Yeah, I was telling everyone. I think by telling everyone was my way of like making sure that I was accountable.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So with me, I get spooked. It's like this whole thing I used to say, if I want that to happen, don't tell my mom that it might, because then it won't.
Oh, God, yeah. That's superstition. That's witchcraft.
Well, that's right. I like to,
The dark arts.
Well, that's excuse me, don't dark art shame me.
Sorry.
Just after Mardi Gras, this is what I get. Yeah,
sorry. I should know better than to dark art shame someone.
Well, what age did you start actually doing drag? Because I know from your blog, you were playing with dresses and makeup. And actually, I'm interested in that too. When did you start fiddling with makeup, just in general?
Yeah. Well, my mum always had her makeup kit. Her very, very what's the
rudimentary?
Yeah, very basic makeup, like eyeliner, mascara, some foundation, some eyeshadow, and lipstick. And she always had that in the bathroom, just on the bench.
Yeah.
And I remember quite often like closing the bathroom door, and probably I was about 11 or 12 or something like that. And then I got to the sort of, around that time as well, that me and my little sister were hanging out a lot. Mum by that stage was a single mum. She had left my stepdad, thank God. And I'm the middle child, and my sisters are 5 years older and 5 years younger. So my big sister, she was in high school and studying, and she was always in a room, but Mum was working. So when my big sister was in a room, me and my little sister were just playing.
Sure.
And we would, we had a lot of fun together, and I would like dress her up and do her makeup and do her hair and do photo shoots and it was like that kind of stuff. So I kind of felt I sort of started dabbling in more of the technical side of that stuff when I was about 11 or 12. Still never realizing that you could actually make a profession out of that. Like, sure. No way of,
Yeah, right.
But before that, like I was always in dresses. I always got in trouble for, for playing in my mum's clothes. And, I got in trouble one time from getting lipstick on her wedding dress. But yeah, like I've always been very, very, very naturally drawn to feminine, girly stuff. And just always dreamed about skirts that flared out when you spun around and, jewelry, like costume jewelry, the sparkle, the glamour. And I would always go into this fantasy about it as well. Like this whole, like any piece of costume jewelry I thought was magic. Yeah. And like I must have watched something when I was a kid and I had like an amulet or something like that. And so like I just had this it was all just so surrounded by mystery and wonder, and because it was forbidden as well, because I was every time I sort of was visibly someone caught me having a liking to it, it was always sort of made to sort of feel shame about it. Yeah. So I kind of had this very strong attraction to it all. And by the time I did drag, I was like I was just finally being able to immerse myself into things I've loved all my life, which is nice. Yeah. But was that the question?
Yeah, that basically was. Yeah. And now I'm wondering, what were your first drag numbers when you started?
My first drag numbers. Well, my first official drag numbers was Hero by Mariah Carey.
Oh, yeah.
And Only One Row by Celine Dion. But that were only ever performed in the mirror at home when I was when they were released.
Very private, very intimate audience. Yeah.
Yeah, very just yep. And Mum did come home early from work one day. I had wagged school. She didn't know I was home, and she found me in her room in all her clothes, full makeup, miming to Wild Women Do by Natalie Cole on the Pretty Women soundtrack.
Oh, right. Yeah.
She's like, that was a shock for both of us. But my official drag numbers when I first did my first shows, I did Cyndi Lauper's, what's it called? I'm Gonna Be Strong.
Okay.
On her 12 Deadly Sins soundtrack or album. And I Can Cook Too, which was by Marina Pryor, which is an Australian sort of singer. But it's a musical theatre song that's been covered by a million people.
Okay.
So that were my two first numbers.
Yeah. What kind of music do you like to listen to?
Mariah Carey.
Yeah. I'm fans of the genres Mariah Carey and Miss Mariah Carey. Yeah.
I do. She's my favourite. I do love her. But I love the divas. I like girls. Like and they've got for a long time they just had to be belters. Like they had I just wanted big divas. All of them, and I've sort of, I've tried all of them, and I've sort of whittled down to just the standards: Mariah, Whitney, and Celine. Like I love them, but now that I'm sort of older and I'm not looking at only songs that I can perform to.
Sure.
I'm now broadening, like Jolie and Sid here. When we work on Spotify, we're working with Spotify. I'm like, who should we listen to today? And we'll listen to the entire discography, and getting into I saw Sasha Velour a couple of months ago. I'm like, let's listen to Annie Lennox.
Oh yeah,
and I'd never really, because to me she's not the sort of performance that I'd do, so I never really gave her any attention.
Sure, right.
But then you listen to me she's beautiful. Like this is actual magic. Like
yeah, and every record's different.
Yeah,
and just beautiful stuff. Yeah.
So I mean, I like good singers.
We had a funny moment a couple times in West Hollywood, Brian and I. 2 or 3 days within the span of a week, we went into Joey's, our favorite pre-show lunch spot, and I'd look up and I go, she's here again. It was Annie Lennox.
Oh, wow.
She loves Joey's as well. So if you're in West Hollywood, go to Joey's, because terrific.
Spot Annie Lennox. Get a selfie. Right. God bless America. See, in Australia, we don't have that.
Okay.
You don't bump into stars.
I'm still not used to it because I'm from the other coast. So I'm always just like, oh, wow.
I know it is fabulous.
Do you like traveling a lot?
No. No, that was very strange. No. I used to.
Yeah.
I travel a lot. I travel with Priscilla. I ran around the world with that. And I just...
Did the novelty wear off, kind of?
Yeah. I'm just old and tired now. I'm not old and tired, but like I like being settled and I like having my routine. I need a routine. She thrives on having like that busy international, like a million different places, living out of a suitcase. I can't do it. Like it starts to affect me psychologically.
Yeah, it's funny how different things work for different people schedule-wise.
Yeah.
Pardon me. Sorry. Yeah.
I'm a bit the same. Yeah. I think it's actually getting a bit hay feverish and a bit polleny outside. It's change of seasons.
Yeah, the weather was really crazy oppressive today. Yeah.
I know. Hot. I know. Welcome to Sydney.
Yeah, right. Well, at least it was pretty mild comparatively for Mardi Gras.
It was beautiful. I think that's the best weather we've had in a decade.
Oh, okay.
That was nice weather.
And it's lovely to be in summer now because LA was very rainy and it sounds like it's pathetic complaining about the rainy coldness of 60-degree LA.
Well, I mean, you should never complain about rain in LA, should you? Like,
no, you're right. See, I know. I'm just being very, very spoiled.
Did it snow in LA just recently?
Did it?
I saw on television, yeah.
Oh, wow. I mean, I'll have to check that out because that's very, very rare.
Yeah. I was watching Ellen on YouTube, sort of little snippets, and she was going on about how the contrast of the snowstorms in LA to the snowstorms on the East Coast.
She means the drug problems in the show business industry right now.
Is that just LA?
I guess right. It's the New York. It's everywhere. It's universe,
isn't it?
Yeah,
that's everywhere. Yeah. Anyway, that's not necessary. That's irrelevant information.
But anytime there's an opportunity for a snow joke, I'm right in there.
Yeah.
Did you ever work with someone in Priscilla or anywhere else that you just felt like, oh, I really don't dig this person's energy? And if so, how did you sort of work around it?
Yeah. Well, it depends on the situation. There are a couple of people that you didn't have to be around, like if we weren't actually working the same team, but we had to sort of work in proximity, you can sort of just put up a barrier and avoid it.
Sure.
And there's a couple of times when we had people that worked in the department that, like, okay, that's that's hard. But, I mean, it's one of those things like, your brain has a habit of like blocking out negative things.
Yes.
Yeah, I sort of think about it now. I'm like, yeah, that was negative, but I can't really remember anything about it.
Which is good.
Yeah. Well done, brain. Good for you. Good work.
That blocking out thing. Thank you for working for me. Yeah.
No, look, I mean, I don't know. I've got a really good ability to switch off.
Okay.
Like, I think that comes from being a kid and being bullied at school.
Sure.
Like, you sort of just put up a wall and you're like, okay, just get through this.
Yeah.
So I think, in those sort of situations now, I tend to like be able to put up blinders and blinkers and just get on with it.
Yeah.
Not in every situation.
Well,
but,
some people are very exceptional.
Yeah. And some people like, that you have much closer, interactions with. It's hard to avoid.
Yeah, definitely. It's hard to parse out the work from.
But I try and have like nice people. I try to surround myself with nice people these days.
Yeah.
Life's too short. My bubble's pretty good, pretty tight.
It's good to have a good bubble.
Yeah.
I feel like a really good vibe in here too, as soon as we walked in. Especially I was a little frantic with some of the equipment issues and stuff. But I was like, it's a very welcoming, pleasant.
Yeah, well, it has to be, right? Like,
well, that's true. Imagine a very tense, like, just like chain smoking, like, okay, what do you want? What do you want? Yeah, there's tinsel in the wig. What do you want?
Oh, yeah. Look, that was last week. That was Mardi Gras.
By the way, the tinsel wigs. Yeah, Willem pointed those out to me, and I was like,
they're fun, aren't they?
Those, those are really beautiful.
Yeah, they've already started being copied.
Well,
but what can you do?
Yeah.
If you're a leader, you're going to be followed.
Yeah, that's true. How often are you looking at new wigs to put together?
Look, I try and have something in process all the time.
Yeah.
But it's hard. Like, I just, I mean, because I have everything made from my supplier in China, it takes a long time. It takes time, and then sometimes you spend time working on it, and then it's it's not quite right, and you got to go through the process again. And sometimes it can take up to a year to get something new.
Yeah.
So I try and have something in the works all the time, but it doesn't always come out at the end at this in a nice sort of succession in order.
Yeah.
So sometimes it can be 6 months without anything new.
Yeah.
Or usually what happens, like I'm trying to sort of rejig the way I sort of present the business and my line of wigs. Like I've just realized I've just to have a full range in stock all the time. It's just so much money and it's so much pressure to keep the stock like up to date.
Yeah.
And I'm always making little changes to the wigs. Like every batch we improve them. And so I'm sort of, in the process of trying to work out how to reimagine my range.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to go down the road of like having a line like a fashion line every year.
Sure. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's
and
really
then we
cool.
sort of we can sort of do a big launch, all the new stuff, and then we can, do a big sale and get rid of the old stuff. And that way we're not hanging onto stock either. Like, it's like, but then that's scary because we're not always in control of how things are produced in China and
That's
things
true,
that take.
right.
And China's also being, which people don't realize, there's a big crackdown in China and in industry of environmental laws and new rules and regulations that take that are making things much harder to get.
Okay,
and labor, it's good because labor's being like the workers are being treated better.
Sure.
And they're trying to look after the environment.
Mm-hmm.
But it means that things are getting more expensive, things are taking longer, and things are just in general more difficult.
Yeah.
So that's hard, but yeah, that's just the woes of being a business owner where things manufactured in China.
I'm just thinking about the trajectory of your life, going from someone who is doing drag just for themselves, then with Priscilla, teaching people how to do it, and then applying onto other faces, which you'd started already, when you're playing dress up with your sister and everything. But it's interesting when you find yourself becoming a teacher, and then I'm sure like the head, I'm not sure what the title is, but head of the makeup department, right? Or for Priscilla. So then you're the head of a department of a section, and then you're a business owner. Have you ever found any challenges along the way in terms of managing other people and dealing with just other people in general?
Oh yeah. Well, by the time I got to London for Priscilla, I was the head of wigs and makeup and the associate makeup designer. Mm-hmm. Head of wigs and associate makeup designer. And I remember being like, in the department, being in the boss, and thinking it's not the fucking work that's a problem; it's the people. It's like it's dealing with people and navigating people. That's where the work comes in. That's where the management. Title comes in. That's where it's hard. That's what I found hard. Yeah. So I did find sometimes managing people, but usually got good people around you. Yeah. I mean, and now like it's we're pretty tight here. Yeah. Like it's not we're not a big. This is me and Jolene that work here daily, and I've got my other assistant Belinda who works remotely for all the online stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's really just an operation of three. Yeah. And Courtney and I are still business owners. She still owns half the business, but she's busy doing all her stuff. So I guess she's more of a silent partner now. Mm-hmm. So as far as, the operation of managing this side of it, this element, it's fine.
It's pretty, rolls along nicely.
But the business side of it's hard, I find. Like there's just
keeping track of stuff, or
it's the switching between sides of my brain.
Yeah, no, certainly.
Like having to sit down in the mornings and be all business and do all the the online stuff and do the ordering and dealing with China and
all the administrative kind of
facilitating all people's orders and stuff like that, and then flipping it over and having to be creative and make these beautiful magic wigs for people. Right, and that's hard. Like sometimes I think. And I've been doing wig styling for a long time. Like I started hairdressing when I was 16, so it's a long time. And started doing wigs really when I was like 20, 21. So it's been a journey of me, dressing wigs and styling wigs. And I kind of feel like at this point in my life, I would rather just focus on the business. Sure. What I mean? Like, because I would rather just, make fabulous wigs and be able to facilitate, fabulous wigs than having to spend hours and hours and hours in front of the mirror with a head, like making, doing the wigs. Yeah. But unfortunately, it's called Wigs by Vanity. And and when people want something done by Wigs by Vanity, they want me to do it. So, which is, I'm not in any way saying that's a negative thing.
Of course
I'm very grateful and very blessed that I get to do beautiful things for people and work for myself and express myself that way.
And in terms of expressing yourself, also your Insta stories are an endless font of joy.
They're so stupid.
And it's amazing too how the social media thing really can impact business in such a lovely way. Yeah, just by being yourself. Because again, we go from a time where maybe we don't feel like we can be our full selves. And then once you're really embracing of your full self, especially online, and you see, people love this. People love
absolutely. Yeah. I think Instagram, my stories, is a major part of my emotional growth and the place that I'm in now, and me learning to respect myself and value who I am. Because, and I remember saying to Courtney once, because I was like, is it wrong that I love Instagram so much? So like, I really love it. And I just, like I really like it's
fulfilling or something.
Oh, so fulfilling. Yeah. It's like, well, as long as you don't, you realize that it is just online and it's not, there are limits to what actually it's, how it feeds you. Yeah. And don't, over. Well, I can't remember what she said.
Kind of like over rely on the validation kind of thing.
Don't think it's anything more than what it is.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And then I realized that I think what it is because all my life, especially when I was young, Like, I was made to feel I was so rejected by society for being who I was.
Yeah.
So now to have this platform where I'm able just to be 100% authentically myself, and the more I am myself, the more people love it.
Yeah.
And the people comment, and it's like, and I know they're strangers. I know I've never met them mostly, but
still,
it was strangers that were rejecting me before. So now to have strangers, accepting me and appreciating me for who I am, and telling me that and telling me how much they appreciate it and how much they like it and enjoy it, it really means something to me. Like I really find it really special. And part of me, you think, you don't think too much of this. Like this is all very, very surface. It's they don't really know you. Like this isn't like a deep friendship.
Of course,
but
bad things have come that way too that you've taken on, and they're just surface. But you don't think that. So why not enjoy
the good things, the beautiful things? Yeah.
It's a great thing.
Oh, it is a great thing, but you've got to make it work for you. Like, I've got a zero tolerance cunt policy. Like, if you're a cunt, if you say one thing that I don't agree with, you're out. You're done. And I do, and I don't do it often. But if I do, like, I just don't have the bullshit.
Why?
So if you don't fit in with my brand, then I don't want to be around you, and I don't want you to. We aren't right for each other clearly because you don't like what I do. You've taken the time to tell me or be a bastard. So I was like, so that's fine. You don't have to. You can think that, but don't do it on my page. Don't do it around me.
Exactly.
Don't inflict that upon me.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Trolls are not welcome. That's
I am very ruthless. And it's nice. And now I've just got lovely people.
Yeah.
Lovely people who actually want to be around, who want to be exposed, who we both want to be exposed to each other. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite films?
The Wizard of Oz, The Lord of the Rings trilogy. They're my ultimate favorites.
Yeah.
But then I've got lots of other camp ones.
Well, tell me some of those because I love the ones that are just like, oh yeah, I've seen it 20 times, but I wouldn't say it was my favorite film.
Well, like Troop Beverly Hills.
Oh, yeah. Fabulous.
It's mostly 80s stuff. It's like when I was a kid, like Xanadu in Greece.
Oh, God. I love Xanadu.
Splash, The Little Mermaid.
Yeah. Xanadu, it's funny because you love it so much, and every time you watch it, you go, this is really a terrible film.
Oh, it's terrible. It's so terrible. And I didn't realize how terrible it was until I was probably like 23, and I was dating this boy from England, and he had never seen it before, and he was like here visiting, and I'm like, oh my God, it's such a great movie. It's so beautiful. And we started watching it, and he's like, this is shocking. And I was like, oh my God, it is.
It really is bad.
It really is bad, but I still love it.
No, it's great. And it's almost you want to cut out the musical numbers and just show those.
Yeah, absolutely.
But,
absolutely. And just her in general, like she's so beautiful.
No, Olivia is, But since we're in Australia, we should talk about Olivia a little bit.
Yeah.
Glad we are.
Yeah. But my other major influence is I Dream of Jeannie.
Oh, really?
I was obsessed with Jeannie. I still am. Like I still love
good
her.
hair on that.
Yeah, good, great hair. Great hair. So there's,
It's funny with Greece, we just went, Sam and I went to the Kylie show, and you'll be going to the Kylie show, the Kylie and Jake Shears show tonight. So for Whimsical Volatile Drinking Game participants, Jake Shears playing last night and tonight. And Kylie had one outfit that looked like she was stitched into it right before she walked out, and it reminded me of Olivia when she comes out as Bad Sandy.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Stitching into it.
Yeah, which she was actually for the premiere party. She was just literally like for that scene and for the premiere party. So I think it was a very uncomfortable night.
Yeah.
For her.
Oh, she's so beautiful. I just look at her and think she's the most beautiful woman in the world. Like at that age, just so innocent and so pure. I just love her.
And she thought that she was too old for Grease.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, she refused.
Well, she was 28 or something, wasn't she?
Yeah, 28, 29. Yeah, well, I love that too. I always love a 30-year-old playing a high schooler.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever see Two of a Kind?
When I was a kid, and I never watched it since. It's like watching Grease 2.
Oh,
because I was like, well, that's Sandy and Danny in Two of a Kind.
Yeah,
and
right,
then,
exactly.
And then I'm like, no, that's not Sandy and Danny. Nah, fuck that shit.
But those listening, if you want to see John Travolta in a nice wig and a fake mustache, check out Two of a Kind.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one. He tries to rob the bank that she's working at, and it's really crazy wig and a mustache.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to watch that again.
It's good. Actually, it's so berserk. It's worth watching again. And like Oliver Reed's in it. It's just insane. It's just insane. And also when you watch it going, oh, they all thought that this would be the big follow-up to their other stuff.
Yeah, I know. And it wasn't. It was a flop, wasn't it?
It was a huge flop. I think that's what put the final nail in the coffin of her film career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, poor lady.
Actually, and one of Mother Xanadu thing, the guy, I can't remember, the male lead who was in The Warriors, said, the Warriors opened up every door in show business. Xanadu promptly shut all of them. So
he was terrible, though, the lead of...
he's
the male
god-awful in that.
But mind you, they say there are no bad actors, just bad directors.
Oh, that's true. And that director went on to become a award-winning documentarian.
Oh, did he? Well, documentaries. Well, that's a good...
I think it's
a better segue to
Yeah, I think he can help people out a little bit better than that. So, before we go, is there anything that you'd like to talk about that we haven't talked about?
No. But can I just say that you've got the most amazing on-air voice?
Oh, why, thank you.
It was so funny, like, because I hadn't listened to the podcast, and I knew that like you guys had mentioned me quite a few times.
Oh, sure. Obviously, we always are saying Fabulous Friday. Yeah,
and people always remind us, like, oh my god, I've got to listen to it. I've got to listen to it. And it was like Alaska. It's like Race Chaser as well. And
oh, sure.
And I hadn't listened to any of that, and I was like, oh my god, I need to like, listen. And anyways, then I started listening, and I think I was going to my mum's, and I listened, like, just binged listened. And it was funny, like, you know, knowing that we'll come into the situation. I'm like, and I feel like I already know you. Like, I was like, you know, you just hear someone's voice so much, you're like, oh yeah,
yeah,
like,
no, totally. Same,
friends.
and same from your stories and everything. Yeah,
that's nice.
Vanity, thanks so much.
Thank you. Well, let's just like, you know, let's make a deal that if I come to LA, that we do another one with the three of us. Okay.
Oh, of course, 100%. And I'm looking forward to that. Till next time, everyone.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Wow, women do, and they don't.